Welcome back. Today we're looking at something really specific and powerful. It's an idea from a daily devotional, Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, about the absolute necessity of what it calls the consciousness of righteousness.
Exactly. And what's so interesting is that the core idea isn't just what you believe, but how you hold that belief. The source is very clear that for these principles to work, it all comes down to your state of mind.
Right. And it all seems to hinge on a single passage from 1 Corinthians. Awake to righteousness and sin not.
That's the one. That's the foundation for this whole concept.
Okay, so let's unpack this core mechanism. The devotional it's really assertive. It basically claims that until you are actively, internally conscious of your righteousness, it will not work for you.
Which suggests belief isn't quite enough on its own. It has to move from being just a fact to being a psychological reality.
So what does righteousness conscious actually mean then in practical terms?
Well, the source defines it as this constant awareness that you are justified, you're cleansed, and that you are completely accepted before God.
Justified. So like standing before a judge with no accusation, no shame left.
Precisely. It's an absolute internalized sense of worthiness. It has nothing to do with how you performed yesterday.
And this is where it gets, I think, really revolutionary for a person's identity.
Yeah.
The devotional is telling you to just tear up your old ID card.
Yeah.
It says, and this is a direct quote, "You're not a sinner saved by grace. You're a new creature in Christ Jesus."
And that call to awake to righteousness is literally a command to wake up to that new identity. It's a complete shift in your self-perception.
A shift that's supposed to have immediate effects.
It has to.
Yeah.
Because the source connects it directly to that idea that old things have passed away and all things have become new.
So when you really embrace this, not just intellectually, but consciously,
then guilt and fear lose their power over you. That's the immediate benefit. They can't control your actions anymore.
So if that's the internal change, how does it start to show up on the outside in daily life? The devotional promises this awareness gives you what was the phrase? A mentality of dominion.
Yes, the mentality of dominion. That's the key. That's the practical outcome.
And what is that?
It's an instruction, really. It's about actively rejecting labels of defeat or inadequacy, whether it's anxiety or a health issue or a financial struggle.
So it's about the language you use for yourself.
Yes. The source specifically tells the listener not to say things like, "I'm just an ordinary person trying to please God."
That's fascinating. So it's rejecting that kind of self-deprecating humility.
It is. The required mindset is to actually see yourself as the righteousness of God. It's insisting that you have to adopt the highest possible view of yourself to get the promised results.
A psychological prerequisite for spiritual effectiveness.
That's a perfect way to put it. The internal conviction has to match the external expression.
Which brings us to the final instruction in the text. You have to think it, talk it, and live it.
Right. And only then, the source promises, will you produce what it calls the fruits of righteousness. It moves it from just being a status to being a tangible action.
So if we pull all this together, the core takeaway for you, the listener, seems to be that. I mean, the power of your spiritual life, according to this source, depends entirely on you consciously and actively accepting this transformed identity.
It's like the difference between knowing on paper that you inherited a fortune and actually living every day like a millionaire. One is a fact, the other is a lived reality.
Exactly. So that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If thinking, talking, and living this way is what produces the fruits, then what real difference is this text suggesting exists between just a mere belief, just knowing the fact, and that true conscious awareness that actually fuels the action?
Well, definitely something to explore further. Let that truth sink in and transform things.
Absolutely. It's a rich truth worth meditating on.
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.